welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Click like, subscribe.
The bell. Don't forget the bell.
If you like this fun stuff. If you don't, just keep on going. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to have some fun anyway. So we love music.
Yes.
We love movies.
Also true.
And some of our favorite movies in history have been very soundtrack oriented.
Yes.
We want to talk about like the difference in that, or just the ones we like. And just like, and get some other ideas from folks out there about which ones we're missing. Because like we're gonna obviously talk really hard on Top Gun. Well, I consider that movie pretty much a music video. It's like an hour and a half music video, a little longer than that, and in an ode to the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
Right. It's just a fun movie. It's got the great soundtrack, but it's got Sir Maestro Kenny Loggins just leading the way, like all the way. The film composition score is great. But then it's mixed with great songs. And it also brings back great catalog music, too.
Yeah.
And it created a real thing that we do at bars to this day. Like, that's kind of my age. Like, You've Lost That Loving Feeling. Almost everyone who's ever lived a certain amount of life, who saw this movie in the theaters, you've probably seen that happen in real life at a bar.
In a real bar.
I know, I've tried it, sort of.
Have you tried it?
I mean, kind of.
I think you could do it.
I
could pull it off.
It worked.
It'd be strange if I did it. People would be like, what is that large, hairy thing doing?
It does. Yeah.
So weird.
Can't close your eyes anymore.
I just stand in the corner. Like, no one would look. It would be really awkward.
Why ain't the Skinner? Why ain't the Skinner?
Command the room. Command the room.
That'd be an awkward moment. No, but I mean, from like, sitting on the dock of the bay to Kenny Loggins, to the Righteous Brothers, just like to the score, it's a masterwork of the whole package.
It is.
And it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's true.
And then you continue with, let's just stay on Kenny Loggins for a minute. Let's go back to his precursor to Top Gun. I'm all right. That's whatever that song is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not Footloose. That's later, sorry. But that's a Caddyshack.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Dun, 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 dun. Whatever he's saying, I can't remember right now. But great song.
Is Kenny Loggins the greatest songwriter for movies ever?
It's funny you ask that, because then you might have to talk about Professor Randy Newman, which is a whole other genre of movies. But he jumps up. Footloose was Kenny Loggins as well. Great film. Yeah. Kevin Bacon's greatest and one of the best movies ever. The remake's even tolerable.
Nah.
I mean, kind of like the Red Dawn remake is tolerable.
But that's true. I'll give it that. Okay. All right.
Because the original Red Dawn is maybe one of the greatest movies in history.
It is amazing.
It's one of the
Wolverines for life, baby.
I mean, yeah, the fact that Ukraine's doing that now is hilarious. Spray painting that on tanks that they blow up.
Yeah.
You win. But no, Randy Newman, like he's a whole other world, like of all like this sort of Pixar Disney universe, and
Toy Story, baby.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend. Like every time you hear his voice, like, oh,
it's Woody. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it gave me a weird moment when you said that. But no, like it conjures like either happiness or it can bring a tear to your eye.
That's right.
This weird, like Randy Newman, I feel like his voice, he was probably like 15. He's like, Mom, I got a song I want to sing. Happy birthday to you. Like his voice is just so like, it's Randy's. It's, but he has this knack for writing amazingly catchy tunes.
Yep.
And like sort of like bookends any movie he's in.
Pretty much. Yes.
Like that's, but it's, the whole movies aren't, it's like, throughput to me is like Top Guns and Footloose. But we'll get back to the 80s, don't worry, because there's other great ones there too. Sorry, this is like my bread and butter. I could just talk about this for literally hours. But we have like a list, so I won't do that. Yes, it could go on for a long time. It
was 7 hours long. Weird.
Why is Baxter still talking? Jonathan's like trying to kill himself right now. But no, but sticking on Disney for a bit, then you get into like that sort of the animation world, not just Disney, but all that universe of like Frozen.
Yeah.
Whereas like the whole success of that movie is driven on the success of one song. If it doesn't have it, which that was a phenomenon.
I mean, there's so many of those movies that my kids watch that
All
they're
the Disney
really
ones.
nothing without the songs. Encanto, right? We've been wondering if you guys done that one.
Yeah, I fortunately got to avoid the watching of it, but
Actually, the song, I mean, like, I don't even really mind it because
I don't like
I
that we don't talk
kind of
about
enjoy it. I think that's
can't.
hilarious.
I just can't get into it. I just can't. When I hear it on the
great.
radio, I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to get it off before the kids notice.
I like the one about the strong sister sings.
I don't know it. I don't want to know
Yeah,
it
you have to
either.
watch it. I'm gonna make you listen to it later.
No.
It's great.
It's like whenever
brilliant.
Savage Love comes on the radio, like Jason Derulo, I'm like, oh, let's go. I've heard this song. Like my kids, like that was on the pop charts when my kids were younger. And it's just, I don't want to.
But I mean, what about all the Phil Collins, Elton John, Disney stuff? Like to me, that was sort of like the
is
golden
epic.
era. Yeah,
That
that
is.
was like, wow, I cannot
Well,
believe.
there's great like memes
Yeah.
and stuff on the internet with TikToks. Like, hey, so we got this. Hey, Phil, we want you to write this soundtrack, kind of like Elton John's did. He's like, okay, how good do you want it to be? He's like, well, I mean, just pretty good. He's like, pretty good or really good? It's like, just whatever you want to do. He's like, all right. And then he comes back, and then then it shows the people listening. They're like, oh my god, because it is like Phil Collins stuff is like it's amazing.
It is
And
amazing.
Elton John's is amazing too. I mean, The Lion King is
It's amazing.
without the music. I don't think it's that.
It's not good. It's not. I mean, there's nothing like groundbreaking about the story that they're telling, right? You know what I mean? Like it's
What?
the same. I mean,
What?
It's a timeless tale, a retelling, right?
That was my
Coming of age.
My acting right there for when I did 2 whats in a row. I'll do it again. What? Pause. What? That's from a great film. It's on Amazon Prime right now. I highly recommend you watch it. It has great music in it too. Great. I'm serious. It's called Velocipaster. Have I talked to you about this yet?
No, but Sean has.
Okay.
I gotta watch it.
Sean and I watched it twice in 1 week while we were at Merle Fest together, selling guitars to great bluegrass people. And then I watched maybe 2.5 times because we were like, we got to show it to my wife. She came by for like a minute, and then Don, our Taylor factory rep, was like, "What?" He couldn't. He didn't understand. It's one of the best movies we've seen in a long time. Just,
I can imagine that. I'd be like, what do you get? What is wrong with you guys?
how Eastern of you? There's just some of the lines in it. It's just you got to stick with it. It's only 1 hour and 10 minutes long, and trust me, you'll
go.
share it with friends like a bad case of athlete's foot. It's well worth the visit for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I don't even know what we're talking about, but let's jump forward to the 80s again. Any of the 80s movies like Karate Kid, all of them are pretty much like living soundtracks.
Yes.
But then Young Guns comes out.
Oh my lord.
And that was 90s, I believe, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
Was it late 80s, early 90s?
I just remember for Christmas one year, I got the little like Walkman cassette, headphone
The
thing.
Walkman.
And I had that soundtrack tape, but it was the one where like the voiceovers are in there too.
Ooh, you have to like the deluxe cut.
Yeah. And I just, man, I think I wore it out. I think I literally listened to it so much that the tape was dead.
I mean, like for like guys that are getting into guitar or have that itch that's going to happen one day, and that comes out, you got Bon Jovi just slaying it.
I wasn't even into guitar, you know what I mean?
But
It was planting the seed. Oh, God,
sowing the seeds of love. It's and then you fast forward even like The Crow, like has this great sort of soundtrack of like sort of like grungy stuff because it's sort of like the grungy anti-hero movie. But then we go forward a little bit more, and then we jump into like the 2000s, the Twilight saga.
Yeah.
Yes, saga, I say. That bands, these indie bands or some other bands, like just would kill to be on that because you're going to be exposed to hundreds of millions of people.
Yes.
That never would hear you otherwise.
That's true.
Like, all these people that love Twilight, and I'm not the teenage fan base girl that I was a grown man. That's even more depressing.
An outlier.
an Outlander, Sassenach, or an Outlier, whatever. Don't confuse Outlander the show with Outlander the science fiction movie. It's really funny because they're very different. They're both weird, but
Both very strange.
But on the Twilight, I mean, that's where we were talking with Sean earlier. That's where he first heard Muse. Muse was not an indie weird band. They were a major band at this point too, but it exposed so many diverse like bands in that sort of world, like the Bravery.
Yeah.
And like just a big group. I mean, Radiohead, or no, Tom York had one on one of them. Like the first 3 were great soundtracks. Great sound. The other ones were good, but the first 3 are actually really good if you haven't listened to it. And then jumping back again, Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. Yeah. I had my tonsils out, and I remember my grandparents bringing me the little action figure of Kevin Costner. Like after
Bryan Adams song.
Well, it was Kevin Costner action figure, but yeah. So then I'm like, oh, I love Robin Hood, but then I heard the song, and then I was like obsessed with Bryan Adams for a little while.
Well, then I do like the Three Musketeers is the one that got me with like the Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting.
Yeah,
I mean that song. I had the tape single just for that, and I remember taking it to school with me in my little Walkman too. Like, and we did it all for one, all for love. Let the one you want. Like, I love that song. I still sing. My wife and I will sing it. We'll do the harmonies. And it's so funny. And the kids get so pissed because, like, Mom, man, this song is stupid. I'm like,
stop.
You don't understand.
No, we can't.
Then we're going to kiss in front of you and make you throw up.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
It's the best thing.
Happy Mother's Day, son. It's
only mildly creepy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
totally fine.
You don't want to be a child in the Clement household.
No.
But then,
or an adult.
Then you fast forward to the future again. Quentin Tarantino.
Very good.
The 90s, and he does something. He pulls these, sort of takes that, and we have not heard. It's not part of our consciousness of this new generation of teenagers in the 90s and 20-year-olds, and puts it in your listening pleasure with this amazing cinema attached to it. And he almost, this is weird, this is a stretch. It's almost like taking that 80s formula of what Top Gun did with the pop stuff. With like Quentin Tarantino has this art film house type style.
Yeah.
With these weird sort of music that you've not listened to before that has now become part of our normal consciousness.
It's true though, you know. And all these songs you're talking about, you see them when you think of the song, you have a visual representation of a scene in one of these movies, right? Like you can kind of paint the picture.
Or like even like Reservoir Dogs, you know, na 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 na, when he's cutting the guy's ear off, na 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 na. Like you'll never forget like that scene if you've seen the movie. That's the scene of the movie.
Yeah.
When he's like, cool, I'm alone with the cop. Awesome. I'm going to have a little fun. It's just brutal. It's Michael Madsen, I think, is in that scene. I think he's a great actor. But he's also in Kill Bill 1 or 2, maybe both. I can't remember. Later. Great films as well.
I almost rewatched the Kill Bills the other day. I didn't do it.
I think they're worth rewatching.
They are. They're good. I enjoyed them.
I've seen them. I've rewatched them once, and I need to do it again maybe.
Yeah, I've seen them both a couple times, but
I think
it's been a long time.
The scene at the end of Kill Bill 1, like when they have like the Japanese sort of like surf type band. That's playing, it's just a great
right.
Playing in the club. It's a wonderful, wonderful scene. But it's amazing to watch, and I think it's coming back too. The soundtrack things is not as big a deal. But God, I think Derek would kill us if we didn't talk about it. James Bond.
James Bond's pretty big deal, right?
That's sort of the idea of like your ticket to a Grammy. Like,
being tapped for hey, do a
hey, you want a Grammy?
Sure,
do this James Bond thing because that's you'll get it, that, or if you're Randy Newman, you want a Grammy.
Yeah,
two ways in there. So the James Bond, and the Adele one was great. Billie Eilish got hers out, and
what if Randy Newman did James Bond? How would it sound?
That'd be awesome. It'd be kind of like ding dong ding dong ding dong ding bang 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 bang. Hey, nobody cares about James or something. It'd be great.
That's I knew you'd have a good one.
I could. That's what we do. We improvise here.
Yeah.
That would be terrible, probably.
Yes.
I think he could do it. He's brilliant. He can do anything he wants, though. But it'd probably be terrible. I don't know. No, but let us know like the movies that have touched you with the music in your life, because there's certain songs you'll hear that just brings back a memory. Like and like even the orchestral ones, like I'm obsessed with Pride and Prejudice. If you've watched the channel before, the score on that is just breathtaking. I mean, James Horner was one of my favorite composers back in the '90s and throughout, and until he passed, unfortunately, very young, I think. But his soundtrack for Braveheart was like just phenomenal, and like he did everything back to Aliens from James Cameron to all sorts of great film works, and you can hear like his work infected everything orchestrally. But like I'll hear the theme from Pride and Prejudice though, and like it emotionally affects me a little bit. It's just such a good one.
I don't know if I would recognize.
You wouldn't,
from Pride and Prejudice,
unless you've watched the movie on replay like I do.
Every night.
Shh. Quiet. Let us know your thoughts, your prayers, your privileges, your life goals, just anything you like about movies.
Or your favorite movie scenes with music in them.
That'd be cool too.
Either one, you could do that as well. So,
peace be with you.
Yeah.
All the love in the universe. Thanks for joining us.